Canelo Alvarez in his matchup versus Terrence Crawford is the odds-on favorite for a reason. He is Canelo Alvarez. That's much to be able to say. I've already made my prediction video of what I believe is going to go down in the main event. That's just about 2 weeks away out for as of right now. Between Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. I've also made a legacy video and my what does it mean series of videos that I've had so far on my channels. I'm going to be linking that in the description below. You guys stay tuned if you want to be able to see that as well. But this one is more for the keys, more in depth, more X factor things that these fighters have for themselves and their styles that is going to be able to make things a lot more easier in their matchup for them to be implementing their game plan against the opponent that they have. And obviously, Canelo Alvarez is going to be going against Terrence Crawford. So these are my 5 keys for Canelo to be able to get the victory in dominant fashion over Terrence Crawford. And the obvious first one is be Canelo. Canelo is an absolute destroyer among all worlds, having the style that he has, being very heavy on the front foot, bringing that pressure, nailing you down, making things very uncomfortable in that ring. Obviously, the squared circle is what I wanted to be able to say in there for most of his opponents, and he just dominates them from pillar post. Pretty much, Canelo, he doesn't really have to be able to switch anything up for him and his style. He can be able to implement this game plan against literally everyone, even if he's not having the same type of success that he's had against a lot of other opponents. He eventually either gets the finish or just breaks you down to where it goes to a decision. And the best thing that you can be able to say about the performance is that it went to a decision. Henceforth, look at his most recent fights against Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga. I can't really say much about the Williams Skull matchup because that one was absolutely terrible. But those most recent matchups against those younger prospects is definitely something to be able to look into in terms of Canelo being Canelo and having his style and implementation on what he wants to be able to do. The second key that I think is very important for Canelo Alvarez to be able to manufacture an easy win for him is working the body heavily. Canelo is known for being a tremendous body puncher. That being, he's not really worried about any counters or any shots coming towards his head because he has a great head movement and has a very good chin. Not a very good chin, one of the best chins of all time. It's been tested against a lot of heavy hitters in boxing beforehand. And him working the body and crippling the energy and the movement that Terrence Crawford has is just going to be having Terrence Crawford standing there like a sitting duck waiting to be able to get bombarded with a bunch of combinations to be able to eventually finish him out there, even though as of recently Canelo has been kind of a decision merchant. He hasn't been putting dudes away, but he has been dropping people. So he has enough power in there, especially against the bigger dudes, again, like Munguia, like a Berlanga. These bigger guys that are coming in like 200 during fight night, he's dropping them, and he's coming in there at like 170 something. So him working to the body, especially against somebody that is a smaller individual, making their first jump and leap to 168, it's gonna make a very easy work of shop against Terrence Crawford if he just continuously throws in these combinations, especially these electric explosive combinations that Canelo is known for. That's really what his style is based off that. He's not really much in terms of having a lot of continuity in terms of throwing a volume set of punches out there. He's not a volume guy. He's using all of his energy to be able to land one hard shot or a combination of sorts where it's about 2 to 3 punches, but it's heavy, it's hard, and it's very, very fast and quick. That's really what he's building and implementing his game on. And him working the body, I mean, look at the knockouts that he had towards him, Liam Smith, him breaking down Gennady Golovkin and landing hellacious shots to the body throughout the entirety of their trilogy. Canelo is known for being a great body puncher, and him being himself, that being the first key, that being Canelo, working that body as well is going to be able to make things easy as pie, in my opinion, against Terrence Crawford. And number three, the number three key is show physical dominance. While Terrence Crawford is known for using, his wrestling acumen, his grappling. He doesn't really get roughed and tough up in there in terms of getting inside the pocket with a lot of dudes. There's a lot of viral videos out there with him, showing off his wrestling and showing that he has, potential to be in MMA. But this is the first time he's actually going to be able to jump up two weight divisions from his last fight. Regularly, he is known for being a welterweight, and while these guys are similar in terms of their stature, this is a very, very big, tall task for Terrence Crawford, in my opinion. And showing that physical dominance, pushing Terrence Crawford around, being a bully of sorts, not having any type of concern of what Terrence Crawford is trying to be able to implement, having these frames, making working feints, not going for all this nonsense that maybe Terrence Crawford is probably going to be able to, use effectively against Canelo. Just overwhelm Terrence Crawford, make him slow down. That also goes into the body shots that I had in number two. Just really just wearing down on him. Same kind of style that Tyson Fury had against that matchup in against Deontay Wilder in the second matchup. We're just consistently leaning on him, fighting inside and fighting dirty, making things just relentlessly on this pace where it's just too much for Terrence Crawford. I'm not going to say Terrence Crawford is going to absolutely crumble under this pressure and just falter right in front of our eyes. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just continuously over and over after every single round is passing, it is going to just zap Crawford's energy lower and lower and lower. And while that happens, that lowers the guards, lowers the defensive reaction capability. Everything just starts to be able to come down once to where it needs to be able to go. And again, making Canelo's job a lot more easier. And the fourth one, really coming into these keys, that being 2 and 3, force close counter exchanges. On the outside, I'm not saying Canelo is a bad boxer. I don't think that he's a bad boxer at all, whether it be in the outside or the mid range. I think he's very skillful. But in terms of going against a lighter man like Terrence Crawford and you having that ability and knowing that the 168-pound division that you are now reigning over and being the undisputed champion in that division and the only dude to ever be undisputed in that division as well, forcing these close encounter exchanges with Terrence Crawford, also mixing in the body work, also showing off your physical dominance and just being the absolute bull that Canelo Alvarez is, it's going to eventually have some mistakes and some mishaps and obviously lapses in focus of Terrence Crawford's defensive abilities. Eventually, with him having all these close counter exchanges, Canelo is probably going to be able to catch Crawford with something. And while Crawford has never gotten dropped, he's never been knocked out, he's never been knocked down, none of those things have happened, against a guy like Canelo who still carries power, maybe not the same type of power to be able to completely put you out with one shot like how he used to beforehand, he does have enough power to be able to hurt you, to wobble you, to sting you, and or even drop you. He may not consistently flat out every single guy that he used to in his prime, but enough power to be able to really not want you to be able to get hit with any of those type of shots that Canelo was throwing. So having these close encounters, being on the inside, again, pushing Terrence Crawford around or making it just a rough physical fight, that being that third key, and landing the hard body shots, and that being the second key, forcing all these close encounters, making things very, very messy, not having any type of skill or technical disadvantage against a lighter man against like Terrence Crawford. It's really going to be something that Canelo is probably going to implement with the heavy pressure style that he has. and really just make it a rough night at the office for Terrence Crawford if he is taking note of these keys for his career. And the last key for Canelo Alvarez, sort of an X factor for him. Really, for Canelo, he's been on all these big main stages. He's been there, he's done that. He's done pretty much every single thing that you can do being as a boxer. He's pretty much, as of right now, on his money spree, getting as much cash as he can be able to get to, having the not hardest matchups to be able to get to, but are pretty decent names. And obviously, being the face of boxing and the cash cow that he is, it does something for him to be able to keep things for him around. But is the fire inside Canelo? That's my last key. Is there a fire lit under him that, as of recently, having fights against, John Ryder, the aforementioned Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga, William Skoll, Triple G in the trilogy, where Triple G was already like 40 years old. Canelo hasn't really had these matchups where before in his prime, he was just going banger after banger after banger of a great dude with a good name on a big stage and just flat out embarrassing him. Whether that be where he was on his run against Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Daniel Jacobs, all these fighters that he was going against, while they're not the biggest names of note or the greatest of sorts. I mean, you have the first two Triple G fights that you can be able to point to as well. Also, the other names that he has on his resume as well. Canelo hasn't really had these type of fights as he had beforehand, where it's on a very big main stage against a very high notable name like a Terrence Crawford, who's arguably pound for pound number one as of right now. And Crawford is very, very much so on 10. He has wanted this fight. He's been calling for this fight for quite some time. So he's 100% motivated to be able to get this Canelo fight and get the job done over Canelo. I think Terrence Crawford is very much so in his mind believing that he can be able to defeat Canelo and do so in tremendous fashion. For Canelo, though, again, going for his recent resume, going against a guy that's super, super reinvigorated in their career to be able to get a matchup like a Canelo on his resume and for his legacy as well, you got to think, is Canelo really up to task to be able to get the job done, knowing that he's already got all his money, he's got all his riches, all his royalty, he's calling the names that he wants to be able to call out as of right now, and now he's doing business similarly like to what he was doing before in his prime. But like what Marvin Hagler said, is your silk sheets making you not want to be able to get out of your bed and put in that work? We shall see. If the fire is inside of Canelo and we are getting a dude that is 100% invested into this fight, we are probably going to get one of a all-time career type of performances, a vintage Canelo performance, if we want to be able to say that for ourselves. And yeah, those are my 5 keys for Canelo Alvarez, for him to be able to absolutely be the destroyer, the demonstrative monster that he is, that has been wreaking havoc for, I don't know, 10 plus years for as of right now. I mean, Canelo has been in the eyes of boxing for a very, very long time. Like this video if you obviously like this video. Comment your opinions if you have other keys for Canelo, or you don't disagree, or you disagree. You think that these keys are pretty stupid or dumb. Anyways, it doesn't matter to me. Let's get the engagement. Let's get the comments going. Let's get the subscribers going, baby. We're here, you're here, I love you, you love me. Let's continue on. Again, my legacy video for Crawford and Canelo will be in the description, as well as my prediction video, because I've already made that for myself as well on this channel. Thank you guys again for watching. Again, the 5 keys for Canelo to be able to get this win over Terrence Crawford. He is the odds-on favorite. Let's see if he gets it done. Thank you guys again for watching again, and a peace.